to record it because I could forget to do that. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have met Blair before. She is dear to my heart. She is a 2-star diamond coach, 4-star qualifying. Oh, somebody's echoing. And 1-star diamond in her second CBC. I don't like that. That's echoing. Almost a Success Club 10 legend. I'm going to say you're a Success Club 10 legend. We'll declare it. And you've been coaching for 3.5 years, and you're a stay-at-home mom of 2 children. Your children are both at home, though. Well, now they are.
Now they are.
And Blair, like, I just admire everything that you do with your business because you guys have been, like, crushing it. So Charity is one of her coaches. If you guys have seen anything from Charity, she's been killing it in her business, too. So I'm excited to learn from you. Why don't I have all of you guys mute your lines too? I'm going to mute mine in case Jax decides to bark again. But Blair, you can't mute your line, so.
I wish I could mute my son. That would make it like a lot easier because the minute now, like I'm going to start talking, he came running in. Landon, can you go play downstairs with your cousin? Thank you. All right, so I'm going to try to whiz through this as quickly as I can and try to do my best to give you guys as much information. Recruiting to me is like my favorite thing to talk about. And so I could go on and on and on and on and on and jabber on about recruiting all day long. But I wanted to, I'll give you a brief little bit about me really quickly before I dive into recruiting. I'll try to keep that as small as possible. So yes, I'm a stay-at-home mom. When I first started coaching 3.5 years ago, my son was 9 months old and I was struggling to lose the second round of baby weight, and I was breastfeeding like crazy. So I was up every 20 to 90 minutes all through the night, like his whole entire first year of his life. So the statement of me being exhausted is, I can't even begin to describe how exhausted I was when I first signed up as a coach. But I knew I needed something to hold me more accountable to my workouts. I already owned P90X. I'd already done it before. I really loved it. And so when I heard about coaching, it was kind of like a duh kind of moment for me because I was like, oh, well, I know I like the products. I know I like to work out, and I need something to hold me accountable. And plus we were looking at having to have me go back to work because we were struggling horribly financially. I was borrowing over $600 every single month from my parents. I was on state assistance, food stamps, WIC, pretty much anything you name it, I was getting. Every time anybody had free clothes to give, I was like, I'll take all your clothes for my kids. You know, anyone who was leftover boxes of diapers. I had my parents' Target card. I had their gas card. I mean, everything was on borrowed money in my life. And so when I signed up to be a coach, it was even on borrowed money. I basically borrowed it partly from power company and water company because I was like, which bill can I pay late this month that I didn't pay late last month so that we don't lose our water or our power or something gets shut off. So that's actually how I got signed up, was I paid a whole bunch of bills late just to get signed up. And when I first started, I knew that this was something that could really change our lives, but my belief in myself was definitely very limiting. I was struggling horribly to try to figure out how to work this business, even though I was working it round the clock. Like my husband always yells at me. He was like, why are you doing this? You're like breaking yourself. Because I would work every single minute of every single day. I was either on my phone, literally breastfeeding my son, or I was listening to trainings while I was breastfeeding, or I was like up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like answering messages. Everything was usually like one-handed from my phone at that time. But it was because I really wanted this business to work. But for a good 7-8 months, nothing. I couldn't hit Success Club. I couldn't sign coaches. I was struggling to make it work. And I honestly I thought I was going to quit because I was crying every single day saying, I hate this. This isn't working. Everyone else is better than me. I'm a horrible coach. I'm doing everything they're telling me to do and it's still not working. I don't get it. Clearly nobody likes me. I suck at this. I mean, every single thing that you could think of, I was telling myself. And I finally had to get really, really real with myself. And this is probably where a lot of coaches need to really sit down and be real with themselves, is that you're the one holding yourself back in this business. The tools are there. Clearly there's other coaches from all backgrounds of all walks of life. They're making it work for them. So the factor in all of it is you. And you need to figure out what that is that's holding you back. I was the one holding myself back because I lacked huge self-confidence. I overthought everything. Overthinking is a byproduct of not having confidence. If you are overthinking every little tiny thing, it's because you're not confident in your skills. And so I overthought inviting. I overthought inviting to coaching. I overthought inviting to a challenge group. Every post I posted, I was overthinking it. It's a vicious cycle, and it's just going to crumble your business. So you need to start believing in yourself. And I had to break free of the whole, everyone around me is broke because I'm broke. Everybody else can't afford this. Even though I made it work, I was just living in a wonderful little land of excuses. So even though you're like, why does this have anything to do with recruiting? It's because, in all fairness, when you're going to start going out and talking to people about joining this business, this is what's going to come up. All this stuff, all these excuses, all this jumbled mess, what people are going to build up of why they don't think they're going to make a good coach, because this is what limited me. This is what stopped me from, even though I signed up, it stopped me dead in my tracks from expanding and growing. So my goal is to not only help you guys recruit, but to get you guys recruiting and then helping your team start actually going forward. And I'll be honest, that's even something I am continually always trying to help my team with, because I'm a chronic overthinker. I'm in recovery for overthinking, and I attract a ton of overthinkers. So I am trying my best to help my team through this process. But when you are sitting down and you're thinking about, okay, well, I want to become a better recruiter, because I think that a lot of coaches are like, this is the one area that they're like, I'm good at maybe talking about challenge groups, but I suck at recruiting. First and foremost, you need to remove those words out of your mouth. You need to stop telling yourself that you suck at recruiting, because if you continually tell yourself you're going to suck at recruiting, then guess what? You're going to suck at recruiting. Okay. Goes back to the confidence factor. You got to start talking to yourself like you're a badass. I'm a badass recruiter. I know I can go out and talk about coaching. You need to make recruiting your passion. It needs to resonate with you. It needs to be even more important than the program itself. I look at coaching as the end all cure for everything when I'm talking to somebody, because I'm going to not just give them, a challenge group is great. Don't get me wrong. I love helping people get on a fitness program. I like helping them lose weight. I like helping them hit goals, but that's only a small piece of changing someone's life. When you give them coaching, you're not only helping them get on a workout program and you're helping them with nutrition, but you're giving them mindset. You're giving them the personal development piece. That's the thing that's really going to solidify them being able to continue working out and making sure that they're hitting their goals because they're staying accountable. But then you're also plugging them into this amazing community of coaches, which is like the ultimate support system. Carl Daikeler created coaching purely for that fact, to connect why were people not completing their fitness programs, because they were lacking support. So coaching is like the ultimate support system, because you're plugging them into everyone that is on the same journey, that is working on themselves. They're working on their fitness, but they're also working on bigger, badder goals. Like, you're opening them up to really believe in themselves even more than they've ever thought possible. So when I look at coaching, I'm like, dude, that's a really big gift to give somebody. And so everyone I talk to, I'm thinking of like, how can I really truly impact their lives? And that's how can I introduce them to the opportunity of coaching? And don't even get me started, obviously the financial piece, right? Coming from somebody who, was drowning in debt and living the way we were living. I mean, I have a really soft spot for people that are living that way, because I want people to see that they don't have to live like that anymore. They really, truly don't. And if you're a coach that's on the call and either you've dealt with financial stress or you're in the thick of it right now, you've got to think of like how that feels and talk to that person. When you're creating posts, when you're going out and talking to people about coaching, you want to look at that. You are going to help that person break free of that stress. That's to be able to lift that type of stress off of somebody, to me, is the most amazing feeling ever. Lauren brought up Charity. Yeah, Charity is one of my diamonds. So I've got, and Jamie Zotz is one of my diamonds, and Jamie Lang. And those girls are all working towards huge financial goals right now. They're all different. And even Rebecca Johnson, she's working towards a really big financial goal right now. And when I see my girls hitting those types of financial successes and what that lifts off of them, that's going to motivate you just even that much more to really go out and start recruiting and helping people. So like I said, it's got to be deep. You got to really feel it. You got to be really passionate about it and be like, oh my gosh, this is like a life-changing experience. You've got to stop thinking like, well, this person may not like coaching, or this person may say no, or da 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 da. That's you. Once again, stepping in front of you. You're making up their mind already for them. And I'll be really flat. And this may sound kind of mean, but sorry, that's selfish of you. Sorry, I know it stings a little, right? That is a little selfish of you, because you're making up their minds. You're making the decision for them. You're making up excuses for them of why this opportunity isn't right for them. That is not your decision to be making. That's their decision to be making. You're not forcing them. You're not dragging them down a road like, come on, you're gonna, go sign, I'm going to sign you up now, and you're going to do a challenge pack now, and you're going to like sign over your life to me now, right? Like, you're not doing that. You're giving them an opportunity. You're providing them information. You're asking them, do you think this is something that you would want to do? You're giving them a choice. That's their choice. So you need to remove you out of the situation and decide why you're, making excuses, or if you're looking at your list of, oh, I want to talk to them, but I'm scared. No, then that's you working for selfish reasons. That's not you working for other people and making it about them, because it's not about you. And then if they say no to you, if you take that personally, that's you focusing more on you. 9 times out of 10, people are going to say no to you. It has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you at all. It's them. It's all about them. They're thinking, oh, I could never do that, or I don't have the time to do that, or I don't have the money to do that, or I'm not as motivated as she is, or I'm not as in shape as she is, or I could never help as many people as her. They're in their own little land. Trust me when I say that they are not sitting there thinking, that this has anything to do with you. They're not saying no to you. They're saying no to them. So you just have to present the opportunity, listen to their concerns and what they're going through, and then being the coach that you guys all signed up to be, helping them work through that. Why are they feeling that way? What's making them feel limited? How can you better help them? That's your goal as a coach. That's why we all signed up as coaches, right? Is to help connect people to their goals. Well, then that's all you're doing, is you're a problem solver. So when I'm talking to people about coaching and if they do give me a no, it's like, okay, well, why are you feeling that way? What do you feel like you can't do what I do? And then it's just finding ways to help them work over that fear, because it's usually fear of the unknown that they can't do it. So let's kind of switch gears. And so how are you going to turn into a recruiting badass? Okay. It's a real simple system, you guys, that I follow every single month. And I know the coaches on my team that are recruiting badasses, like Charity and Jamie, or I call them the Jamies now, my Jamie Zotz and my Jamie Lang. I just call them the Jamies. We all refer to them as the Jamies on my team. And I know how they're doing it is because we really follow a very simple system within our team. One, you've got to start adding to your network like a boss. You've gotta start expanding your network, because like I was saying before, people are going to say no. People need a time to process of whether or not they want to jump in. Some people are going to be ready to go. Some people are going to need a year, or 3 years, or whatever it is. So you need to continually be bringing in a gigantic influx of people every single month. And my team hits this really hard every single month with doing free groups. And we step out of the whole realm of Eat Clean groups. We're looking at other types of free groups, the organization groups, financially fit groups. I mean, that's what me and Charity, we started with a financially fit group about, it was like August of last year. And I'm not even kidding, that has like drastically changed our business. Because when we run these groups every month, I'm guaranteeing typically I can add anywhere from about maybe 40 to 80 people on a low month, to sometimes upwards of 200 to 300 new people a month when we run these types of groups. If you don't know much about running free groups, there is tons of training already available. I do not want to dig all in that. That's literally a whole nother call all within itself. But there is tons of scripts and guides. It's already completely laid out for you. All you got to do is start inviting to them and plugging in these people into these free groups. Now, the benefit to this is that you are immediately adding value into somebody's life from the minute you meet them. So it's like kind of like that first impression. You're already making a first impression on them that you're the person that's going to help them. You're giving them free value. You're helping them through whatever crisis it is that they're going through, whether that's a financial stress, whether that's just organizing their house. Some people, it's like right now we're just doing a 30-day thanks. It's a 30-day of thanks. It's like a picture challenge, and every single day we're taking a picture of things that we're thankful for. You can just try it up and flip it around. I encourage my coaches to think of other new ideas. So think of things that you love that maybe you could talk about passionately, like to somebody. If I sat down and talked to you about crafting, and you could literally tell me how to Pinterest the shit out of anything in your house, cool. Like, then maybe you need to be sorry, children. Earmuffs. Then maybe you could, do a crafting group, or a do-it-yourself group, or a crock potting group, like anything that you feel that is your jam, run with that, and then just make a free group out of it. But like I said, that's going to give you free value immediately to these people. Now, I immediately start messaging these people right away. I immediately ask, the question. It's almost like I joke around. It's like, who's that guy? Jeff Foxworthy, I think it is, where he's like, here's your sign. Like, it's the most obvious of question, right? Where I'm like, hey, why do you want to join my financially fit group? Like, obviously because you want to get help with debt, right? It seems like a pretty question. Like, of course, that's why they're joining. But it's just like a challenge group. Why do you want to join a challenge group? Obviously because they want to get healthy and fit. But you need to start the conversation. You need to start forming them from the very beginning. And so I ask them, like, why do you want to join this group? And some people are going to give you the, oh, I just want to organize my house, or, oh, I just want to get, financially out of debt or whatever. But some people are going to really open up to you. Oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom. We're on one income. Or I had one woman, she's like, my husband just died a couple months ago and I still have all his belongings in my house and I just want to organize it and get it out of my home. Like, some people will really open up. And those relationships, I just start cultivating and I just start getting to know them. And I take that month to just get to know them more. Oh, really? Tell me more about that. Or tell me, how many kids do you have? Or where do you live? Or what does your husband do for work? And I'm just building that relationship over that month so that while they're in my group, they're gaining value from my group, but then I'm starting to build the relationship with them through the month. So the beautiful thing about this is that then when the following month comes, I have already basically an invite list of people that I've been building relationships with, and I can turn around and ask them, invite them. Have you ever considered maybe checking out, one of my challenge groups? You're doing really good in this, financially fit group. I run other types of groups. I'm not sure if this would be of interest to you. Maybe it's something you would like to check out. Same thing though with coaching. I will look through that month while I'm building relationships with them. It's very easy then for somebody to sit there and we start talking about, their life and stuff like that, that I'm like, oh, well, have you ever considered checking out coaching? That's kind of what I do. I'm a stay-at-home mom too. And you're kind of talking about, XYZ, like what I see that they're going to, how it's going to fill the need. So it's just all about building that relationship through the month and figuring out how can I fill the need. 9 times out of 10, I'm talking about coaching, you guys. It's like automatic. When people sit there and try to ask me how many people I'm sending out an invite on coaching, I'm like all day, every day, all day, day is basically what I'm doing. Cause it's like, I'm constant. When somebody starts talking to me, I see the need immediately. I feel like in any area of their life, they just start talking to me and I'm like, oh, this person would be amazing at coaching because this. I make a note of it. I put it on my follow-up list. I continue to kind of build the relationship over the next couple of weeks. And then hey, have you ever considered checking out coaching? We've been talking over the last couple of weeks. I've been listening to all of this. I hear this need. Maybe this would work for you because this is what's working for me. Also during that time, you guys, you've got to recognize that these people, they're new and they're going to also be following you while you're in this group. They're talking to you. Your personal page needs to be on point. You need to make sure that you're sharing everything consistently. You need to be doing your 3 to 5 posts every day. You need to be making sure that you're sharing about your journey, and you need to be sharing about coaching. I think that we get really stuck in the whole aspect of, let's just focus on sharing my fitness journey, but we're never talking about the coaching of sharing how coaching is changing our lives. And you can share coaching in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be a financial success. Because like for me in the beginning, I didn't have a whole lot of financial success. So it can be anything. It could just be like right now, we're on a Zoom training right now and taking a picture of it and sharing it and being like, it's so awesome that I get to be at home with my kids. I get to be on this call, or I just get to hang out with these really cool group of women. I have a lot of women that come to me purely for the fact that they just want to make friends with other people. So even just highlighting the community and the friendships that you're making, but making sure that every day you're sharing pieces of coaching here and there and dabbling it in along with your fitness journey. Don't just get stuck in sharing your fitness results. Make sure that you're sharing about coaching, because as you're building these relationships through the month and you get around to then inviting them, hey, have you ever considered checking out coaching? They're already going to know what the heck you're talking about. They're going to be like, oh yeah, I see that you do something from home, but I'm not really sure what that might mean. If you're not sharing anything about coaching, they're going to be like, I don't even know what the heck you're talking about. Like, nothing's going to ring true to them, right? Because you're never sharing it. So they're not even going to know that you work from home. They don't even know that you're a coach. So you've got to make sure that you're highlighting your coaching journey as well on your page. Let me see here. Making sure that oh, this is comments from other stuff. I'm looking at all my notes. Oh, and when it comes to income, I feel like some coaches, you won't even talk about sometimes with income. Don't be scared to talk about income, even if it's really tiny. Even if it's, you just filled up the gas, or you just paid a bill, or you just, whatever it is. This is like the best time of year to do it too. I had a coach last year was able to finally just buy her husband a Christmas present with her own money. Even though it was like small, it wasn't big. She just didn't have to ask her husband for the money to go buy him a Christmas present, because that's how she'd always had to go and buy Christmas presents for him in the past. So just little things like that, and just tiny little things, making sure that you're just highlighting those little tiny things every single day. And then getting, with all of this, I'm sure like you guys are taking notes, right? And you're like, oh, this all sounds really freaking amazing right now. You need to go out and implement everything that I tell you to do. I think that's probably the biggest mistake that coaches make, is you get on a training call like this, you get really fired up. You're like, yes, I'm going to make recruiting my passion. I'm going to start going out and talking about how badass this is. And then you literally stop dead in your tracks. you write everything, you look at it all, and you're like, I could never do that. That's great for Blair, but I could never do that. Or that's awesome for Lauren, but I could never do that. Lauren got on my team call last night and was talking about consistency. And obviously, if Lauren is your leader, I'm sure she's probably drilled that all into your heads about how consistency is key. I tell my coaches, even consistency, yes, is the mother of all skills. So they say. My belief is implementation is the mother of all skills, because you still have to implement being consistent. You have to implement that every single day, and you have to implement everything you learn in training, even if it scares the crap out of you. My team, they're the ones that poop in their pants in their team pages all the time. I'm sure you hear all these comments, hashtag poop your pants. I'm getting tagged all the time with coaches talking about this. I mentioned it once on a training call, and it's exploded into this level of my whole team is pooping their pants now. And the whole thing about this is that it's the fear factor, you guys, okay? It's that level of when you're sitting down and you're going to try to send out, hey, have you ever considered checking out coaching? Or even just sharing your story or doing a coaching invite on your wall. It's that level of, oh my God, this is really scary. I feel like I'm going to poop my pants right now. And you need to know that when you hit that level of fear, that's a good thing. That means that you are about to do something completely life-changing in your business. If you continue to live in this wonderful little comfort zone of never feeling like you're ever going to do anything scary, never going to poop your pants, you're never going to do anything, your business is never going to grow. You're just going to stay stuck in this little circle, and you're going to get really unhappy, and you're never going to figure out, why am I stuck here? It's because you're not breaking through that ceiling. You're not breaking through that feeling, and you're letting that hold you back. So recruiting is one of those areas that I see all the time, that coaches, they can't get past that fear of asking somebody. It's that selfish factor too that I was talking about, right? Where it's like you want to ask, but then it's like you're letting the fear stop you. You have to push past the fear. You have to accept that you're probably going to feel, like you're going to puke or poop your pants or whatever, or you feel like, knots inside. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. The more you do it, the more you're going to see your business grow. The more you do it, we got 10 minutes. I gotcha. It told me 10 minutes. This is what's going to build your business, and not just in recruiting, but in every aspect. You've got to start implementing. You've got to push past fear. But if I could go on, I could still go on for forever, but I want to be able to, because we have 10 minutes, to allow you guys to ask me any questions when it comes to recruiting, because I feel like this is the one area. I'm telling you right now, this is what's going to take your business from, maybe making a couple $100 here and there, or maybe even like in a, you're making money, but if you're looking to break through and go into like full-time income, 6-figure income, things like that, recruiting has to be like number one priority. So if that's your goal and you're sitting here right now, this is the time, like by all means, ask away.
I want to know if you ever do cold invites, and I'm sure you do. And if so, what do you have, like a pretty generic, like easy breezy type script that you go by? Like if you're looking at, like if you have your Facebook friends list printed out and you're going through and you're like, all right, I'm going to invite these 5 people today. Do you do that, and how do you do it?
I don't really ever consider them now cold. I used to do cold, and I didn't see much momentum in my business when I did kind of like a very like generic cold message. I feel like mine are more considered warm, because I try to have conversations going with people prior to this actual invite. If most invites do come out of conversation while I'm talking, they're bringing things up, I'm listening to them, and it's very much I take that next step, where a lot of coaches will kind of, I could ask, but I don't. I take that step forward and say, hey, well, have you ever considered checking out what I do? So a lot of my invites are coming from there. So it's not literally working from a list and like checking off names, because I'm just asking all the time. But when I do feel like I'm in maybe a slow stretch where I'm not having a lot of those come up, and I will kind of look at my list of, okay, who are people that I really want to talk to and I haven't broached that subject with them, I start just forming them. I just start reconnecting with them and building the relationship, and then I work it in. Like it's kind of, I mean, I take kind of like the scripts that you'll see, and I just, you always hear that, make that more, personal. And I used to have a really hard time with that because I was like, what the hell does that even mean? Be you? I was like, I don't know what that means. Just tell me what to say. Right. So me, I leave it really kind of like loosey-goosey. I'm like, hey, this may sound like really kind of out there, or this may come really out of the blue, but we've just been talking a lot the last couple weeks, and I've just really enjoyed getting to know you. I think this might be really something fun that maybe you'd be interested in checking out. Totally cool if you're not, but hey, I just thought I should at least ask. And then I throw it out there and I just let them know, like, hey, I've just been talking to you, so your name popped up in my mind because I really like talking to you. Would you like to consider checking this out? So it's like an invite, but I try to warm it up a little bit before I like just throw it out there. So I'm not just sending out just like blanket invites to random people that I have yet to really even conversate with.
Right, that makes sense.
I know Carrie, she asked, and this kind of goes back to like the free groups, but in a small town, how do you reach new people via social media or other platforms, especially if you have coaches in the same groups? I guess that kind of free groups.
Oh, that's a good, so like, because you feel like all the groups that you're a part of are all locally based, I would start looking for broader groups that are not locally based. I think that we tend to stick into local groups that are kind of like mommy based groups that tend to then pull from your local, who's around you locally. I branch off into groups that are even a little more specific. So instead of a mommy group, I did a breastfeeding group, and I found there are so many breastfeeding groups. A huge chunk of my coaches and challengers have all come from breastfeeding groups. I've done, right now I'm doing a lot of stuff that's kind of towards me. I have a chronic pain condition. So I've been finding a lot of groups that are centered around either other spoonies, chronic pain conditions, my specific chronic pain condition, even just other female conditions that are in the similar boat as mine, and getting into those groups. I'm a part of groups that are even like the shows I watch, like I like Grey's Anatomy or Once Upon a Time or The Walking Dead or things like that. Like, you just need to start thinking more outside the box. That is something that's going to be broader, maybe across the nation and not just in your little local town. One of my coaches the other day, we were talking, and she's a hunter's wife. I didn't even know that there's like support groups for hunters' wives, because they're almost like a single parent sometimes because their husband is constantly going and hunting. I was like, I didn't even know this. I didn't even know this was an issue. So these are the types of things, is you have to like look at your lifestyle and what are things that other people would want to talk about outside of just like the typical, like the area you live in and shop and swap groups in your area, and then like mommy groups. Cause I feel like that's a really easy one to fall into.
Right. And I think too, like I've gotten into adding more people who I'm mutual friends with than so much like adding people from groups too. So switching it up. I know I used to do a lot of groups before, but now, like you always got to switch it up, I think.
Yeah. Heck, I pulled out my high school yearbook and I literally was like, all right, let's get going. And I just literally started going through my entire like high school yearbook. And I was like, let's see if I can find this person and then this person. Oh, and then let's go into the yearbook behind me and the yearbook before me. I literally, like I did that one day. I'm just going to sit there and search out everybody from high school. Right. But yeah, I mean, if you've got to also think too that just because you're in groups of your own team, or maybe even coaches that are maybe not your direct downline, but they're within our team or other teams, people are still connecting to you. Like there's a lot of coaches in and around my area in Washington State. I mean, heck, the number 3 coach, Megan E. Woldenson, she's a sweetheart, lives not super far from me. So, I mean, I could very well be like, well, Megan's here. She's freaking staked claim. She's number 3 in this business. Like, she's probably got all the local groups are done for because Megan's probably in there and, hosing it down. And probably her whole team is too because they're badass. But you need to realize that people are connecting to you and not worry so much about who else is in the group, who else is a coach, and just do you and focus on building the connections with people because they're going to come to you for you. It has nothing to do with the program. So don't stress about what everyone else is doing. Focus on your stuff.
And I think that like you want to make sure your Facebook, like you touched on first, like your Facebook page portrays you and not somebody else. Exactly. I know we have like 2 minutes left, but how do you get your coaches to get going right away? Okay, a minute. You're probably going to get cut off. Ready, go.
I am in the process of trying to develop better systems, even just for me, and a better onboarding process. But what I am trying to do is I try to break things down very simply and get them just to focus on the aspect of their journey. Focus on your journey, your nutrition, your personal development, and sharing that every single day. Because that's what builds this business. Coaches get way overwhelmed with training. They're like, oh, I gotta learn all this stuff. Dude, I've had Jamie Lang, when she signed up, she literally didn't even get on a call with me and already gone Emerald and his Success Club and did all these things. I was like, what the hell? I was like, I haven't even talked to this girl yet. So I let my coaches know that right from the get-go. I'm like, you do not need to know all this stuff. Don't even worry about it. Just focus on your journey. Focus on sharing it, focus on being you and making true connections with people, and everything else falls into place. Don't overcomplicate it. Yes, I try plugging them into systems. I'm like, quote unquote, like dumbing down the systems even more. I'm like, let's just break it down even more, but focus on you and your journey. Everything else falls into place. Be consistent, implement, believe in yourself, hardcore personal development.
Perfect. That was awesome. You did it all in a minute.
There it is.
Thanks so much.
I
hate talking when there's like 1 minute left because I always get cut off like all the time. Do we want to take a picture? That way you guys can use it to share this. So everybody smile. I want to do it before I get cut off. Oh, just kidding.
There it is.
Whatever. And if you guys have any questions, don't message Blair. Maybe post in Joelle's group or let me know, and I can always message Blair